Good morning, Kate. How are you doing this morning? Good morning, Mike. Uh, I would love to be in bed, asleep still. I've been awake since midnight, just waiting for this stream to start. Good morning, Jess. Cement shoes. Hope you're recovering. I'm doing the best I can, Jess, for right now. I have another surgery coming up on the November 5th. I had to actually write it down because I can't remember how to actually pronounce it. I have it written down somewhere in my notebook. But Terrell, I think it is, medial tendon replacement. It's got three names, like lateral medial collateral ligament. It's like four words, I think it is. But they're going to have to replace it with a cadaver ligament. Good morning, Reichart. Here, passing by Kansas, headed to Colorado. Wow, Colorado's beautiful. My sister lives near Denver. She's popping on a live, having a break. How is everyone? I'm doing the best I can, Kate. Thank you for stopping in this morning. I hope you had a great week. I'm glad you could be here with us. Good morning, Kelly P. I hope you had a wonderful week, Kelly. Thank you for stopping in. Gayla, good morning, Gayla. Morning, Will, and everyone from sunny Sacramento, California. Well, thank you for stopping in this morning, Gayla. I hope you had a wonderful week. How am I feeling, Reichart? Up and down. Right now, I'm not in a whole lot of pain, but I keep on getting these jolting pains on the inside of my knee, where the tendon is torn, and it shoots up the inside of my leg towards my groin, and that's kind of annoying. But it's like a really sharp pulsing pain. It's not constant, but it just keeps on happening. I'd say in about every 10 minutes or so, but it's not like you can clock it by, so wait, in 10 minutes, it's going to happen again. But it's okay. Cessna hot dog, looking forward to this. Well, good morning, Cessna. I'm glad you could be here with us this morning. Now, we are streaming directly on YouTube only, not on StreamYard. I could not get the stupid thing to work this morning again. This is the second week in a row I've tried to stream and on StreamYard, but something is going on with StreamYard. We were doing the true crime trivia last weekend. I had nothing but multiple problems with StreamYard. And I hope everybody can hear me well. Horrible protest happening in London. In London right now. Wow, what's going on in London? Oh, it finally went up. I've been hitting the bar for the volume for a while now, and finally went up. Gayla, hello from gloomy New Jersey. Good morning, okie dokie. Good morning, everyone. Will, I only get one Saturday off every six weeks. Love y'all. Well, I'm glad you could stop in today, okie dokie. I hope you had a terrific week. Probably over the Sarah Everett case. Really? That's the officer who killed Sarah. I can understand that. Well, instead of doing news updates today, I had my daughter go through the comment section while I wasn't able to, and she randomly picked 20 comments, questions that people have asked me on past videos. So she went through, I think she went through like 10 or 15 videos, so not like 20 videos, but 10 or 15 videos, and she randomly picked 20 questions and wrote them down for me. So we're going to do that instead of the news updates on cases because I really haven't had a chance to keep abreast on, if there's any changes other than the Brian Laundrie, which a lot of those videos, a lot of people don't realize I made in advance. So they may have hit, when the story actually was released, but I actually made them either a day or 2 days before you actually saw them, and they were scheduled to launch at a certain time. But a lot of people are like, "Wow, you were in the studio? I thought what was going on?" I'm like, no, no, I have the entire month of October planned out. So every single day there's new content because I'm getting rid of content that I've already made that I've never launched. And a lot of it is, well, it just didn't fit the time or the when I wanted to release it. So there's gonna be a lot of content still left to come this month. All right, let's jump into the questions that people have asked that my daughter, picked and wrote down. All right, first question, either in no particular order, for like importance or anything like that, but do you believe Brian Laundrie and Gabby Petito case will shed light on other homicides across the United States? I would hope so. But unfortunately, when it comes to mass media attention for certain cases, they do certainly spend a lot more time on the death of white women than they do on anyone of another ethnicity or color, and that's the real truth, ladies and gentlemen. The media really does not pay attention or give even a fraction of time to other cases. All right, question number two. Was Brittany Gosney sent to maximum security prison? If so, is she in general population? In case you're not familiar who Brittany Gosney is, she is the so-called mother. She's the biological mother of James Hutchinson, who was the little boy that she ran over and killed, and then her and her fiance decided to dispose of his body in the Ohio River. But the question was that has she been sent to a maximum security prison, and is she in general population? No, she is not at a super max or a maximum security. The prison she's at has multiple different levels of inmates in it. Most of them are medium to high. She is not in general population. She is in PC, protective custody, and she will be pretty much for her remaining amount of time that she has to serve in prison, which is life. All right, question number three. Have they picked a new location for the Lori Vallow Daybell trial yet? No, the entire case with Lori Vallow is on hold while she receives restorative care. Along with that, have they picked a new location for the Chad Daybell case? No, they still have another motion hearing that they're going to hear. Wow, most likely off the record here within the next week or so. But they have not picked a new location for either Chads either. Next question. I love the shorts, but will there be any upcoming full-length versions on any of these shorts? Maybe Israel Keys or Ridgeway. There's actually a short coming up for Israel and for Ridgeway. And are there full-length versions? I've already made full-length versions of each of those. These shorts never got released. They were made, and some of them have been on my page, unlisted for 2-3 months. But the full-length versions have already come out of those. Will there be other shorts that will be tied into full-length, videos in the future? Yes. It's just not right now, not until the month of November. All right, next one. Any updates on the little boy whose dad evaded arrest and took him with him in the back seat of the car? No, there hasn't been any real updates on the case other than the father went to jail. He's looking at a lengthy sentence. He has not actually been sentenced yet, though. He is still awaiting his day in court. Number 6. I was so disgusted by the Carmen Heron, too cute for prison. Have they given him the death penalty? No, but we can all wish. Number 7. Is there any update on the serial killer in Atlanta, Georgia? No. And actually, if you watch the complete video, I was trying to dispel the fact that there is a serial killer in Atlanta, Georgia that is currently hunting. That there might be someone who is in the state of Georgia, who is hunting and killing people, women particularly, but there is not one in the Atlanta greater area. If Gabby were black, we wouldn't have heard of her. That's a very good chance of that, Mike Stevens. Unfortunately, the media is very diverse. City are impartial. Good morning, Very Mary. Cement shoes, chat, and all the other mods. I hope you had a wonderful day, Very Mary, and welcome to the morning stream. And instead of the news updates, I'm reading 20 questions from viewers who have asked questions on actual videos that I've covered. My daughter picked these at random. I don't know what her actual criteria was. Maybe she thought they were good questions, but she picked 20 questions for me, since obviously I was unable to really do a lot of work this past week. Fatoma. Hello and good morning. Welcome to the live stream. I'm glad you could be here with us. Probably butchering how you pronounce that, but I'm sorry. Short Nice, good morning. You speak a little English? Well, welcome anyways. Thank you. All right, next one. Question 8 was, why did you stop covering the Orrin and Orson West case? I didn't stop covering it. I have another video that's coming out this week, actually, on the Orrin and Orson West case. I have not forgotten it. I have not stopped reporting on it. It's just been a week since or 2 weeks since I covered it. But there's another one coming. Question 9. What's going on with the Josh Duggar case? To tell you the truth, I don't know, other than that they've actually asked him to provide an alibi for when he says that he didn't do the charges that are actually against him. But that's as far as I know what's going on with Josh Duggar case. I haven't been following it all that well. But thanks for asking now. All right, question 10. Is Barry Morphew's new girlfriend now his fiance? Not that I'm aware of, but they are an item for sure. And he is out on bail. But beyond that, I haven't followed up on the case very much. All right, question 11. Have you considered looking into the Ironfield murders? I have not looked into the Ironfield murders, but it is on my suggested list of videos to look into from viewers. So I may get to it in November, but I don't know for sure right now, to answer your question and to be honest with you. All right, excuse me. Question 12. Lamont at large just covered the Jennifer Parks murder. Didn't you say you'd be covering this case as well? Yes, I have started the case, video for it. It's in the editing stage right now, and it's not like I'm following what Lamont is doing, but it was one of the cases that was definitely suggested to me multiple times to do a story on and to cover. But it just happened to be the Lamont just put out a video the other day about it. but I am covering it. It is on the list. Thank you. Good morning, Broken Justice. Karen Gillette, good morning. Faithful One, good morning. I hope you all had a. Oma is from Dubai. You speak Arabic. Oh, I wish it does. I don't know. Can this be translated into Arabic? Through the Google translation at the bottom of the screen, it might be able to. So you might want to check into that. Karen Gillette, how will you be? Well, I'm doing the best I can right now. Just had the knee surgery, and I have another one coming up on November 5th. I have the pre-op on the 28th, and then surgery on the 5th, where they're going to be doing patellar medial collateral ligament replacement. I'm probably butchering that. I wrote it down. At least I thought I had it in my notebook here, but I don't know. Thought I did. Could be in one of my other notebooks. So. Yeah, I write everything down, ladies and gentlemen. I'm terrible at remembering things. I got notebook after notebook after notebook here. The notes that I wrote down are, when my appointment is and which of the doctors has several different offices for the orthopedic surgeon. Wherever it is, it's somewhere. It might be even be in the house because I don't see it on the table here. But love the haircut. You look younger. Oh, thank you, Rycart. My wife said I look like a homeless bum. So I got my haircut. Kind of messy this morning though. I didn't have time to actually get out here and do anything with it. Okay, where was I? So question number 13 was just remember the Smiths said every day is like Sunday and the skies are gray. Thank you for the memory. I put that as a reference in one of my videos. So that's why, I know exactly who this was that referenced this because I actually replied back to the comment. Will you be covering any cases from the UK soon? Well, I just did the Moore's murder and a short and the Best, Rosemary Best and Fred Best. So, as the cases come up, yes. I've got a lot on my plate, but I'm trying, to do cases from around the world, not just the United States. It's a little bit more, work that I have to put into. Then I have upcoming videos. So I know that probably didn't make any sense at all because now that I hear it back to myself, I didn't. But yes, to answer your question, I do have cases that are coming up from the UK. All right, question 14. Love the shorts, but enough already. Will any of them of these shorts be turned into full-length versions? Apparently, she wrote down two questions that are close to alike, but the answer is yes. Question 15. Hey, Mike, this question references you. As Mike would say, Allah is best. Will you ever be covering the graves of indigenous children discovered in the U.S.? I don't know if obviously it's somebody referencing Mike Stevens. But Allah Akbar, Mike. Do I have any plans to, or it's not on my list of cases to cover? But I've actually looked into a couple of them. The private boarding schools that are now closed, where they found mass graves of indigenous people. Those are cases that I feel I would do more justice to actually traveling to the locations and covering them. as opposed to just sitting here and covering those cases. All right, question 16. Do you have any collaborations upcoming? No, nothing that I have scheduled right now, but I've been in talks with a couple of other channels to do some, maybe down the road, but not right now. Nothing is going to happen anytime before November, but maybe in November, December, the possibilities are out there. All right, question 17. Good morning, Rockstar. Why the changes to your background? It looks cluttered. Don't you think this may look unprofessional? I don't think so, but if it does, great. I don't know what I should do in the meantime. Should I do only green screen? I mean, the clutter is obviously my cluttered mind at the same time. So I'm skipping question 18 because it's just controversial, but in nature. Skipping on to 19. I heard on another channel recently, and then she wrote down the actual channel name, that you have a criminal record and you've spent years in jail. Please reply back, otherwise we'll have to assume it is true. Well, you know what the first three letters of assume are, right? No, I've never been in jail. I don't have a criminal record, and I don't know why they would say that. I mean, if they put the channel name here, but I've never been in jail. Now, sorry to disappoint you. Question number 20. Do you really believe Scott Peterson is innocent like you said in your video? If you believe he's innocent, you are scum just like him. He killed Lacey, and you're just as guilty as him for defending him. Explain yourself. Yeah, there's no better way to get somebody to reply back to your comment on a video than to belittle them or to call them, names or anything, or put them down. Because every creator out there just wants to jump right in and reply back to each and every one of those comments. Well, I'm not scum. I don't know where you thought that you could got the right to actually call me that. Did I say Scott Peterson was innocent? Never. No, quite the contrary. I actually have said countless times that Scott Peterson is guilty as hell. That he deserves to rot in prison. I just think that there was issues with the actual case that should be investigated. Particularly the jury member, who may have lied to get on the jury. But even if we had a brand new trial, which I don't think he's going to get, but he's already been resentenced anyways. But he's guilty. The evidence was beyond the preponderance of the evidence that he was guilty. He did it. I don't know why anybody thinks that I would ever say that he was innocent. But that's the 20 questions that she picked. Well, 19 of them. I'm not reading number 18. Now for the open chat. Terry Furman. Coffee, cigarette, morning. Oh, good morning. Colleen 41. Good morning. Good morning, Adam. Snowy's Photography. Good morning. How is the weather in Canada? I hope everything has been going as well as it can for everyone. Making sure I didn't miss anybody. I like the thin blue line flag background in your recent video. Thank you, Gayla. I get a lot of slack for that, Gayla. Unbelievably, a lot of negative comments. People who believe that I'm being disrespectful of the American flag, that I'm somehow how did the last person put it, that I was being unpatriotic, because I'm trying to put it in nice words. I remember exactly how he put it. I'm trying to phrase it in a way that's for general audiences. But that basically, anytime I've had that flag up in the background, they've always come after me. It's unbelievable. It just blows my mind that anybody would think that, but they do. Um, really, and if Will did, so what? Yeah. Would ever say that you have a criminal record? That's a bunch of crap. That's unbelievable. Good morning, Sketty Nona. Yeah, but just like you, sweetheart. There are a lot of people who think negatively about you. I've seen that. I've seen that live stream, right? And I told you that I watched it. There are a lot of people who think negatively and think bad things about you. They run with these rumors out there to for whatever reason there may be. I mean, people make up lies about us, and everybody else on the internet because it's drama, and drama sells. Even when it's extremely hurtful to you and to me and to others out there, they do it anyways. We just have to do our best not to let it affect us. Anita, good morning, everyone. Will, love the haircut. Thank you, Anita. I appreciate it. My wife actually picked out the style. She said I look like a homeless bum and I need to get my hair cut. So I had to agree with her. It was getting pretty long. It's really hard though, because I mean the barber shop that I've been going to since I was a little boy. When we first moved here and then moved away and then moved back and moved away, moved back. But they're down to like three barbers now. People have just retired and just through the years. But they're booked up, and if you don't get an appointment, it's going to be a while to get in. Morning, Mary. My family is doing great, Mary. My son is in kindergarten, as we all know. He has his good days and bad days. He really likes to go to school when he sees his friends are there and they're in line. He doesn't like because they line up before they go into school. But he really wants to go when he can stand in line with his friends. If his friends are farther ahead of him in line, he don't want to go. He wants to go back home, and he tells us, "No school gone." It's funny. Try to tell us that the school is gone. We're like, we're here, but he's doing great. He makes me laugh and smile every day. My wife's doing good. Daughter's doing great. So we can't complain in that aspect. But thank you for asking, Mary. Mel. My Josh is the same. Mel. By the way, again, sweetheart, and if you guys have not checked out Mel's channel, please go over and check out her channel and watch some of the funny skits. I caught your live this past week. Oh my God, Mel. And then that little short clip that you did, that was funny. You always bring a smile to my face, sweetheart. Your attitude and the skits that you do are so funny. I love it. And I hope everybody else enjoys your channel just as much. Damned if you do, damned if you don't. Yeah, Mel is golden, isn't she? All right. Since I'm streaming directly on YouTube and not through StreamYards, I cannot turn off the camera. I'm warning you right now. If smoking triggers you, turn your camera off or look away. Or just go ahead and hit that thumbs down button. And make sure you click it twice. Junior Strawberry with the pink hair admitted to her weird dire that she was a crime victim, I think. Huh. Triggers me to light up too, Mel Mel. You're smoking too, Mary? I really hope you had a terrific week, Mary. Hey, look, here's somebody walking into my studio. What are they doing?
Nothing.
Nothing?
Nothing.
Why are you here then?
Because we were having French toast today.
Come here and say hello to everybody, since everybody can hear you. Well, as long as you're closed, right? Everybody, the camera's right there. Right there.
Hey.
Everybody, the wife popped in for a half a second. French toast sticks for the son.
Hey, sure nice.
All right.
All right, I'm leaving.
I know you don't want to be on camera right now, in your pajamas.
What are you talking about? These pajamas are fucking awesome.
Okay, I didn't say there was anything wrong with them.
They're covered in bats.
I know.
And they say stay spooky.
And she's wearing Halloween themed pajamas. Look like her bats and moons and stars.
Mm-hmm.
And then her shirt says stay spooky. Where'd you get it?
At Torrid.
Torrid. In case anybody's wondering, she got it from Torrid.
Bye, guys.
Peppadot, good morning. Gone. He's back to school after 2-week school holiday. He's doing okay. Good. Good morning, Starfire. I hope you had a wonderful week. You and Pippadot, I hope you both had a wonderful week, and thank you for joining us this morning. So what's new in the world, everyone? Obviously, there are riots or a lot of protests, I guess is how she put it, in London right now. He hates school, but he has to go. So he does. He's a trooper. I'm the highlight of the week. Well, thank you, Mary. Thank you for telling her I'm here. Well, I had the first part of my knee surgery, so Starfire. So that was a good thing. I have a pre-op on the 28th and surgery again on the 5th of November. So, and then I think he said it's going to be 6 months of total between rehab and surgery and everything before I'm back to where I was before, or hopefully better. But they went in and cleaned up the meniscus, the torn cartilage that's in the meniscus, and cleaned up a bone chip that was in there. I did a lot more damage this time around than I was, I thought. That's why they had me go in for 2 MRIs. So the second MRI they wanted to get a more clear cross section, I guess, from the top down. So Cement Shoes, keep forgetting to email you these couple of cases. I'm a bonehead, but I'll get to it today, hopefully. Well, okay, Cement Shoes, I appreciate it. Do you still have the email address? I'll put it up on the screen so everybody will have it. There. It the 411 now, obviously, it's all one word. It's not obviously highlighted, not separate, but 411 now, business, no space in there, at gmail.com. If anybody else wants to email me cases to look into, or if they have any additional questions, feel free to email me. My pelvis was rebuilt. The, the other day, I had a nightmare that my wife left me to go with you, Will. I was upset that I woke up, though. Well, I guess that's a good thing, right, Card? I already have one wife, and that's more than enough for me. I'm sincerely sorry you're in pain, Will. I hope you heal rapidly. So do I, okie dokie. But you know, it's I'll be completely honest with everybody. I knew that there was an issue with my knee for about 6 months, and probably even longer than that. And if my wife was here right now, she'd tell you the same thing. I've had problems with it for a while, and I kept on putting it off, going to the doctor because I was like, okay, well, they're gonna have to scope it and clean out the torn meniscus. I'm okay. Golf season is coming up. I don't want to miss the beginning of golf season in golf. Because I also play in a league and I play in a lot of tournaments, charity tournaments. So I'm like, I can do it after that. And so I kind of pushed myself through all that and just kept on putting it off, putting it off, putting it off, ignoring what I was doing. And the reason why the ligaments and got damaged was because the meniscus wasn't able to take all the abuse that it was. So there, you have the medial and the paterial ligaments that cross each other, and that actually stops your helps rotation of your knee. But I just kept on doing more and more damage to it by putting it off. In a lot of aspects, that's the way my life is. I don't procrastinate on everything. It's just I'll do this later on, and I know it's wrong, but I do it anyways. Your daughter had an emergency surgery for a tubular pregnancy. Oh, I hope she's doing good, Mary. Good morning, Matt. Welcome to the story, Matt. I hope you had a wonderful week. Thank you for joining us today. You do the same thing, Cement Shoes? Thankfully for me and my wife, we never had to go through anything like that. Now, we twice in the 25 years, almost 26 years now that we've been married. She's only been pregnant twice, and well, we have the two things to show for it. Mm. Good morning, Matt. Adam Brock. If I didn't say hello, good morning already. You're getting number 3 grandson in March. Wow. I don't have any grandchildren yet. I don't know. Maybe someday. I think it's highly unlikely my daughter will ever have children. Um, she's not. She's been too focused on her career and not so much involved or interested in romantic interests. Some more now than she was. And she wants to spend her life with somebody. She's just it's kind of different the way that they date now, and that they courtship and everything. It's a lot different from when I was younger. Mine seems focused on other things. Don't tend to reproduce. Two of your four don't tend to reproduce. Maybe someday my son will have children if I'm around. Um, I'll retire before my son actually gets to his senior year in high school. I'll have retired. I'll be collecting my pension check and my Social Security, retirement benefits before he gets to his senior year. That kind of puts it all in context when you think about it. Good morning, Kevin. Good morning from South Carolina. Good morning. I hope you had a wonderful week, Kevin. Francie, good morning. I hope you had a wonderful week, Francie. I'm glad you could join us this morning. You're right, Mike. Matt. Well, sorry, Matt Burgess. COVID does suck. Yeah. I'm tired of all of it. Tired of the shutdown, the close downs, everything. I don't know what normal life is going to look like from here on out, but going forward after we get the herd immunity or we get enough people to take gotten the shots. But I know the date of December 8th is coming up, and it's it's a federal mandated date that all federal employees must be receive their COVID shots by. Now, I live in a unique area where there are, let's just say that close to 80% of all the employment in this area is with the federal government. Either you're a contractor or a subcontractor or something, but you're employed basically by the government. And it's a lot less now. It's probably, it's moving rapidly the other direction, away from the government, contracting and more into the science fields. But still, that mandate's coming down to everybody, and there are a lot of people who are still, we didn't realize this, still pushing back on not wanting to get they can get it. They don't have medical issues. They don't have religious issues. They just don't want to get it. So what is the normalcy going to look like going forward? I don't know. But I know I'm sick and tired of it all. Same in Mesa. Just have to wear a mask. Dating is different. My son is 25 and wants to get married badly, but can't find the right person. I don't know about your son, Colleen, 41, but my daughter, excuse me, just joined this dating app for nerds. I'm not kidding. There's a dating app out there for just nerds, and she's on there. We were joking with her the other day that she's probably the only girl on there. But you never know where you're gonna find love. Just tell your son just that to keep that perspective. I mean, when I first met my wife, before, I didn't know who she was. And she came to pick me up to take me out. We were a group of friends. We're all going to, and I was like, I looked at her car. I'm like, oh, hell no, I'm not getting in that car. It looked like a death trap. But when we first met, we fought like cats and dogs, and she's so much of an opposite from me. But the one thing that we always had as our base on everything is we never do anything to hurt each other. If we can sit and debate things all day long, and she'll have one view and she'll be dug in at that view, and I'll have another view, but we can actually discuss and go through the different how one person feels on a subject and the other person feels on a subject, but we never make it personal. So but you never know. I mean, I wasn't looking for someone to get in a relationship with. I just gotten out of the service. The last thing I wanted to do was, start, a relationship with somebody. I didn't want to even be in this area. I mean, I've lived here on and off, for 10, 15 years, or probably a little longer than that, actually closer to 16 probably. When I was younger, I didn't want to live here. I hated this place. I still hate this place. There's just nothing here for me. I'm a Midwest farm boy who is stuck in the desert. This is not my place. This is not my jam, as some people would say. Here in a little town, it's like COVID never existed. Where you are, Starfire, that's good. I won't let my daughter to marry her boyfriend of 12 years. He's only plays video games. Yeah. And my daughter dated a guy like that. That was his entire existence. Is he spent his entire time playing video games and doing nothing. Dropped out of college, didn't want to get a trade, didn't want a job, didn't want anything. All he wanted was to play video games all day long. And it kind of drove a wedge in between the two of us for a while. Probably is still there to some extent, but my 23 and 27-year-olds both got engaged last month. Well, I'm happy for them both, Sketty Nona. I hope that they both have wonderful lives and happy marriages going forward. Just be yourself, says Reichardt. Absolutely true. Just be yourself. There's no reason to be anything other than that. Your daughter's boyfriend won't work. Dating apps for nerds? That is hilarious. He has to try a ton of apps. I do not know the name of it. Calling. I just know that she was talking about, she was talking to one guy in New York, and they're chatting back and forth because on the app itself you can FaceTime, I guess, or something like that, or Zoom. But she's talking to him, and she was talking to another guy and I think in California. But I was like, okay, well, whatever. It's your life. You do whatever, I just told my wife, I go, just remember who she's talking to in case like she turns up missing someday. That's a joke. Can North Korea is current Nazi Germany? North Korea, I don't know if they're, Matt, if they're necessarily a current Nazi Germany extermination, but there's some serious things that are going on in the world that a lot of people don't really pay attention to. But China's pretty bad. They're trying to exterminate an entire indigenous population. But we could get into world affairs like that, but it's kind of it divides a lot of people. They have camps for the yeah, well, it's a very totalitarian government. Strict dictatorship. Just saying, it's true. I mean, I'm not gonna disagree with you, but I mean, necessarily. But when it came to Nazi Germany did a lot more than just exterminate. Try to exterminate an entire population. A lot of people, don't realize they killed a lot of their own people because they believed that they were either homosexual or they were gypsies or that they were, belonged to another nationality that they didn't want. or in some instances they killed them just because they didn't like who they were and what their status was within their country when Hitler came into power. So they didn't just kill, and try to exterminate an entire population and ethnicity. So you seen like every World War II documentary, Matt? In my house, one of those big, huge plastic bins, I've got a whole collection of books that are on different naval ships throughout the history, through World War II. And so each book, they're about that thick and they're huge coffee table books, but they chronologically, the when the ship went into service, who was the captain, where that ship was actually in service at. Pretty cool collection of books. I bought them I think it was an estate sale, probably about 20, 25 years ago, somewhere in there, when I owned my bookstore. No, I've been married for 26 years, so yeah, it had to be 20, yeah, at least 24 years. I love history. The one thing that's always really fascinated me about history is how often people are doomed to repeat the past because they don't learn from what's going on around them right now. I mean, regardless of where you are politically, if you don't learn from what's going on right now in the political landscape on both sides of the aisles, ladies and gentlemen, if you're not watching what both sides are doing, you're doomed to see the same thing repeat itself again and again and again. And each and every time it repeats itself, it gets a little bit worse. It's why we have to learn from history. A lot of people don't look at that where they're like, oh, we'll never do that again. The McCarthyism is going to rear its ugly head again. And if you look at McCarthyism, you can make direct correlations between McCarthyism and the cancel culture that is out there today. You look at the two of them and how they started and who how they systematically blackballed people throughout society with no actual real evidence that they did anything at all. It's like, and wow, that happened here in history, and here we are now, and we're doing the same thing. I mean, you can call it different things, but it's the same thing. Definitely don't want a World War III. I don't think we would ever get a World War III, Matt. I think if it ever came down to that again, Matt, in today's society and how trigger happy so much of the world is, that we would do complete destruction, nuclear destruction of everybody. One person would launch, and then all the allies and everything else, and we would have mutual destruction of mankind on Earth. But the smart countries have realized that you don't necessarily have to go to war to destroy another country, their economy, their people. You can do it through a computer. That's where it's going to go. You might end up seeing a world war where well, let's just take out the American power grid. No power grid. Where are you going to be? All your electric cars will stop running. No internet. Nobody can communicate. You can, then all the oil pipelines shut down. People stop driving. Panic ensues. People start mass buying in the supermarkets. Their supermarkets are empty. Trucks stop delivering goods. It would all happen in short order if you could take out something like that. And the same thing could happen to Korea or to another part of the world. You could take out one thing and it would be a domino effect of things that would fall. That's what the smarter nations know that they can do to stop actual world destruction. Kill the power grid. Yep. Everyone has been kissing North Korea's dictator's butt to be well off in life. Just think where the world could be if we actually the world where that part of the world could be if we actually joined both Koreas. Kind of like when we had East and West, Germany. If we combining them now. You're probably familiar with the White Rose, Sophia Scholl, her brother and her friend, young college kids executed over pamphlets. Yes, I am. I don't know about Matt. Good morning, Connie Kelly. How are you doing this morning? Welcome to the Saturday morning live stream. I hope you had a wonderful week. It does, Colleen. The past definitely comes around. And even if you don't take it from a world view, if you take it from just a personal view, if you don't learn from your past mistakes, you're doomed to do them again. The same things. It's like if you're in a bad relationship right now today, you can sit down and look back and you can see the same things that are in this relationship that you don't like about the relationship have been in relationships in some aspect in the past. We have to learn from our mistakes and why we actually do the things that affect us. Everything around us in our entire world, none of us is not affected by our environment and the people around us. It affects us all, even if we say, like, what, that guy's just an asshole. I'm not affected by him at all. You are. Everybody is. I'm not speaking to anyone in particular. I'm just saying, if that is an example. Thank you, Will. It was nice. I hope you had a wonderful week as well. Connie Kelly, I had the first part of my knee surgery this past week, and I've got another one coming up on November 5th. I'm drawing blank now. My mind's going. I have pre-op on the 28th, surgery on the 5th. To think about that for a minute. The reason why there's such a delay is they need to let the swelling go down, and then I have to go in once before then and have more fluid drain from it. But on top of that, though, there's a limited supply of cadaver ligaments that are out there. Apparently, I don't know. You have to go onto some kind of network to get them. You can't just go pick them up off a shelf or something. Live chat, not top chat. Yeah, that's true. Gen Z would go crazy without the power. That is true. Well, I mean, I think the entire world would collapse. And that's one of the things that people really do not focus on here in America is just how vulnerable our power grid is and how vulnerable our infrastructure is. I think I watched a kind of, I think it was on PBS NewsHour, or it was one of the shows like that, where they're talking about how many bridges in America, bridges you drive your car on, how many bridges are structurally inept or falling apart to the point where they're dangerous. They have like a scale, and they're beyond the scale that they would have. Like, okay, here at a 9, it's like imminent danger to drive on that bridge. They've been putting band-aids to that bridge for years, but there's no money. And here we are arguing, between the right side and the left side over if we need to spend money on it. And while that's all, dragged in, and being held up in politics, every single day, people are driving on those roadways that are structurally, dangerous. we don't put any money into these things, and we just think that they're just going to fix themselves. And the power grid, I mean, if you what that pipeline was hacked down in Carolina or wherever it was. I mean, if you can hack that and cause the whole thing to have to go down, why not? Why can't the power grid be hacked? You can shut down, black out an entire state. Bridges and narrow roads scare the crap out of you. Well, you're not alone. They scare my wife pretty good too. Whenever we take like a road trip or anything like that, I end up always driving. That and well, I like to be in control of the driving. I'm not a very good passenger. She'll tell you that. I've never been a good passenger in life. You have to take off, Pippadot. You have a great day. Thank you for stopping in. Kevin, all the power grids can blow up structures in a heartbeat. Scary, isn't it? People, educate yourself. That is the best way to know what's going on. True, Colleen. But if you educate yourself on something, know where you're getting the information from. Know if you can trust the source and if they're actually giving you a agenda, if their news is actually, and information is slanted by a view or if advertisers. I mean, where can you actually trust a news source now? You can name name a news source, made for the mainstream media. Everything is slanted for one reason or another. Advertisers, even my channel to some extent, there's certain things that I just don't cover because there's the views and the actual interest in the story are next to none, or YouTube restricts what I talk about. I cannot, and this might surprise a lot of people. I've done this in the past. I cannot report on suicide or suicide by cop or law enforcement officers who end up taking their own lives because of what they've actually dealt with in the job. The thin blue line, if you will. I can't report on it. Every time I've done it, it's been flagged. It's every single time I've done it, they've always restricted it. I get no advertising from it on them at all. It doesn't matter even if I'm doing it for a charity. Like the last one I did was for the Fallen Brothers Benevolent Fund or something like that. They flagged it and they wouldn't even let me, have the charity, donation on there, the link. And I'm like, oh, okay. Thank you, YouTube. I'm pretty damn sure it's not just me. Bomb diggity. Well, thank you, Peppadot. How about underwater tunnels for a panic attack? Ooh. Yeah. My brother's keeper, good morning and welcome to the stream this morning. Sorry I missed you there. I hope you had a wonderful week. Our sheriff's departments are posted at our your dams there in California. Yeah. Underwater tunnels, though. I think I've been in maybe one or two underwater tunnels. Not many of them here in America that I'm aware of. And there might be a lot more back east, but not as many out here on the West Coast. Iowa has a terrible roads and bridges. My little town is paranoid to build a power plant to replace the secret backup one, never used, built in the 80s. Well, Where I live, Skedinona, we have 5 power plants that have been online and offline for years. And then they finally decided to mothball them all, close them down, and now they're scrapping them all. And most of them were, only on the power grid for a couple of years, or if that. But we're talking hundreds of millions of dollars were spent on these power plants just for them to sit wasting away. They even made up a song about it. Good morning, Dardine Creek. Where did it go? There you are. Your haircut and trim makes you look 10 years younger. Well, thank you. I appreciate it. No backup by the government. Was the Seattle Police Department had to file an emergency order, the first time since 1910 that they had to file an emergency order to stop, and put a halt to the amount of officers who are leaving the job. And regardless of where you sit on the issue, if you believe that we need reform and defund the police department, wherever, that's your opinion. I don't obviously agree with it, but without law enforcement out there, what is what kind of hope do we have as a society? Crime rates are going up. Officers who are actually out there to patrol, and detectives to actually, help solve the, major crime cases are going down. They don't feel like it's worth it anymore to be out there to put their lives at risk every day for you, me, and everybody else, when there's no support from even within their own communities, wherever they may be. And I'm talking about everywhere, not just Seattle, but across the board. And major police departments across the United States are seeing massive reductions in office number of officers who want to be out there, patrolling every day, and detectives. So a lot of early retirements. They're like, I'm out of here. Give me my retirement now before I lose that, or they're leaving. Altogether. They're going into other lines of work. They are. There are 10,000 people in your tiny town. Exactly, millions of money down the drain. Yeah. Well, thank you, Connie Kelly. I look younger. Need to defend our police. It's horrible. And good morning, Zelda. I hope you had a wonderful week. Thank you for joining us this morning. We need to defend our police. It's a horrible job that causes PTSD, low self-esteem, deadly risk, and got out after a few years was eye-opening. Not getting the jab. I well, I read something about my local police department. I think they had like a 99% vaccination rate, and there was like 4 total officers who refused. 2 of them were for medical reasons, and 2 were religious reasons. And when they gave them, and they said, okay, well, you 4 obviously have reasons for not getting vaccinated. The 2 who had religious exemptions, they ended up actually quitting because they felt that they were being pressured to get it for religious reasons, against their religious reasons. So we're not seeing that in our area, where officers are being fired because they don't get it. But I haven't heard of anything from our fire departments that are. My wife and her group of friends, they just last weekend served breakfast for firefighters at one of our local firehouses. They went to the firehouse and they made them all pancakes, scrambled eggs, bacon, sausage, waffles, and something else. I think it might have been crepes, but they had their choice. They gave them all a menu. And that's a lot of guys, ladies and gentlemen, and those boys can eat. But there was 6 women who went there and they served them all breakfast for free. They brought all the food, they cleaned it up afterwards, did all the dishes, and did everything. But it was a volunteer effort through an organization that we belong to. William Shatner cried after his rocket trip this week. Said it was profound experience. Isn't that cool? There's a lot of people that even that caused controversy. Oh my God, look what he's wearing. People, I don't know, interject themselves into things just because they can. No, it's not just your channel. It's others as well. That's why creators are leaving, and it's sad. You mean leaving the YouTube platform? There's some that are going to other platforms like Spotify. Spotify pays a hell of a lot better than YouTube. I can attract the same audience. Here on YouTube, I make 4/10 of a cent. 4/10 of a cent for every person who clicks on my video and watches it. It doesn't matter how long you click on it. If you click on it long enough just to leave me a negative comment, I get 4/10 of a cent. You give me a thumbs down, I get paid the same. It's called an interaction. There is no real thumbs up or thumbs down that, as in, well, you know what? This one has 1,000 thumbs down and only 2 thumbs up. Regardless, it's an interaction, and they see that somebody has clicked on it, and therefore, haha, and then they rated it, aha, and then they push it out to more audiences. That's what I don't get. The trolls don't understand. The algorithm does not know the difference between a thumbs up and thumbs down. I appreciate the thumbs up anyways. That's why I never ask people to do it. If I do, very, very rarely. Do a streamy moron porn Lonely Fire video of Chud the Ball. I think it comes up to an individual choice. But as long as you're willing to take other precautions to protect yourself and others, like wear a mask. I mean, and I really do not believe that mandating a mask for anyone is therefore taking away their constitutional rights, because I can't find anything in the Constitution where it says that it would restrict your movement or your rights to protest anything. I mean, you can protest against the mask mandate, but is that really a restriction of someone's constitutional rights? I don't see the connection. I don't see anything in the Constitution at all that says that that the government, for reasons for the better good of society, is therefore somehow restricting your or anyone's individual rights. I mean, we got through the flu pandemic before because we mandated things and people had to carry records with them to show that they actually got the shot. You could be arrested for coughing in public back then without a mask on. And people were, and they were fined for coughing in public without a mask. But now we got through it. Not everybody got it. Not everybody got the flu, shot back then. But we survived because we built up a herd immunity to it. The police need backup by the government. Geez, just another step forward. Communists. I think it's a step forward towards communism. I mean, there's a lot of lot of issues in the that is going on, and that we're it's directing us more towards a socialist, world than than anything else. But I don't know about communism. I've read Marxist book on on communist communist manifesto, and it's going to take an awful lot to get us to that point. Well, thank you, Colin. I wanted to keep it this way, or shorter like this. I mean, I've always had it this way since, well, even before I went in the service. I've always had short hair. It's just there are only three places, in my area within a 20-mile range of, to go get your hair cut at. One is a beauty shop, and they also have it's a beauty shop, and it's also a school. That's one place. The other place is Great Clips, and you can go there, but you have to make an appointment online, and it's 7 to 14 days. Let's just say 14 days. That's like 13 days before you can actually get an appointment to get in to get your hair cut. And the third place is the place that I've been going to since I was younger. I was probably 10 the first time I went there to get my hair cut. But they've been around since 1940. But you can't get in any place to get a haircut. Either that or you cut it at home. Those are the only options. So the soonest I could get in to get someplace to get a cut, man, I did. But it took almost a month and a half to get in someplace to get a cut. So, yes, but I do plan on keeping it this way. As long as I can get in someplace to get a cut. Well, guys, here in Escacada, young Berg, was 40-ish years old when he got the flu shot and made him paraplegic an hour later. But I don't think that is a necessary outcome of a lot of the shots, though. It may have happened with that individual, but and that is an unfortunate side effect, if they can prove that it was from the actual shot. And I'm not saying it's not, Zelda. It's just not one of the common side effects, that has happened. I would put it at less than 1%, just like those who have gotten the shot and end up being hospitalized because they had adverse reactions to it, and it made them very ill. It's less than 1%. They have had a slighter higher number with people who have gotten the Johnson and Johnson shot, though, over the Madura and the other one. I can't remember what it is right now, but it doesn't matter. But do your due diligence. Check up on which one and check with your doctor which one he thinks would be the best for you. Don't get your medical advice from me or from somebody on the internet unless you can prove that they're a doctor. But again, Zelda, I'm not saying you're wrong. I'm just saying that it's not a common side effect. But one too many is too many, isn't it? But death is another option. You cannot get the shot and get COVID and end up in the hospital on a ventilator, end up dying too. Well, I don't know what the percentage of the odds of that are, but that's always an option too. 1 in a million. I'm glad my hubby got vaxxed because it would have taken him to the grave with his weak lungs. I'm glad Larry got vaccinated too, for his sake and for yours. You need Gayla, you need help with your moppy hair, Kevin? You got double from pneumonia? That's not good, Gayla. I knew you got sick from it, but I wasn't aware that you got double pneumonia from it. If it's on the internet, it must be true. You would be surprised, just at that part, Zelda, how many people actually really believe that. And I'm not joking, but I watched a story that was on. You can probably find this on Google yourself. It was a story from. It was being covered. I think it was nightly news, ABC, but they covered a story out of, I think it was Zimbabwe or someplace in that area near Zimbabwe, where people are literally injecting or drinking bleach and hydrogen peroxide because they believe that it will get rid of the COVID symptoms. And they act when they ask these people, where did they hear this from? They heard it from mainstream media in America. Because of the translation issue, they didn't realize that they were saying, "Hey, don't do this," but they actually took it as well. Americans were doing it, so we should do it too. That's how they took the news story as it got to them. And they're not just small little villages too. This was like the major, cities, where people are doing this. Of course, in the same location, these same people have found that they can snort the ceramic discs from a catalytic converter and get high off of the actual powder from a catalytic converter. These are the same people. Yes. I meant the vax doesn't cover Delta. Will, did you get the flu shot, Francie? No, I have not gotten the flu shot. Well, I get what you're saying about the mask. However, it's just the government telling us what to do. How did communism start? We are beyond socialism. How did communism start? Do you want me to go into that? Really? I will. There's a whole lot more that to communism, and how it was actually introduced into Germany, and how they were able to push through that entire agenda. And it's a lot more difficult to understand than just being able to give you a quick sound bite into. Well, they started mandating something, so people had to march along with it. You have to put yourself in the context of what was happening in the country and how economically depressed everybody was at that time. There was food shortages, unemployment was massive at the time, and on top of it all, they just gotten over a dictatorship that had alienated a huge portion of the population. So they were looking for something new to rush in without really developing and thinking about it. And they never really got communism to into the country itself. There has never been a true communist country ever in the history of the world. Now, when Russia was all one giant country, we called them a communist country, but they were not 100% communism. They got to maybe about 60%. If you go by just the basis of the Marxist Communist Manifesto, about 60%. Because there are always going to be the uber rich who don't want to just get what they their portion. They want more. Everybody wants more than what they need. So they don't want the little crappy car that the government provides. They don't want to have to listen to the government on every aspect. But I could go on and on and on about that. But I don't think anybody really wants to hear it. I would, yeah, Adam. I'd definitely be more scared of the monopoly and the stranglehold that certain companies out there have on our society right now, the Facebook, the Googles, out there, the larger tech companies, and how much, we're all a commodity, right? We're a commodity right now. You're a commodity in the stream. I'm a commodity. We are not even people to these companies. If that hasn't been more prevalent and very open, from the leak from the lady from Facebook. I can't remember her. I'm drawing a blank on her name. I can picture her though. Where they point blank, like, okay, we're going to keep on pushing this, even though we know it's dividing and it's hurtful towards people. We're going to keep on pushing it because they're a commodity to us. We make more money by their interaction the longer that they stay, and that's scary in a lot of aspects. When you realize just how much, even if you don't comment, if you don't like, you don't thumbs up, you don't financially support anybody, the YouTube is still making money off of you regardless, just by your history in your interaction of being on their platform, having a Gmail account. But that's the way the world is. These bigger companies are up here and they have all the information and they're feeding it down and selling it off to different entities in order to sell things to you. I mean, I'm scared of it to an extent. I mean, I'm not going to crawl into a dark cave someplace and go off the grid. I mean, this is my life. So, but I understand at least that in that aspect of what the world really looks like, in that scary. Good night, Mel Mel. You have a great day tomorrow. Well, today, later on after you wake up. Yeah, it's morning. No, it's morning time there. No, evening. I always lose control of like the time zone differences from there to here in the United States. Will, the VW cars, commie cars, and we all still drive them? Oh, the VW Bug. Well, the first iteration of it, the VW Bug was actually developed and in development prior to Hitler coming to power. But he wanted that car for the masses, of the population, because it was cheap and economical to build. But the Volkswagen Bug actually existed before Hitler, but he did definitely rush it into population and production because it was a cheap, easy car to make. I've got one in my driveway. My wife has it's a 64 VW Bug. Hard top. It's a almond color. Really nice car. But unfortunately, it'll be there in the driveway forever because my father-in-law took the motor apart and has never come back to fix it. Every time he comes back to visit us, he brings us another small box of parts. It's been, 10 years? So I should sell it to my neighbor if my wife would ever let me. He's offered me like $4,000 for it at one point. Last time, but that's what he does, is he buys Volkswagens and restores them and then gets them back on the road. Herbie the Love Bug. It's 12:30 a.m. there, Mel's time. Well, I hope you enjoy the rest of your day, Mel. Thank you again for stopping in, sweetheart. I look forward to your next video. And again, everybody, if you have not checked out Mel's channel, it's spelled just like it is right there in the chat. Mel, M-E-L space M-E-L, Mel. Go check out her channel. You're gonna, if you have any sense of humor at all, you're gonna find her skits and her live stream absolutely hilarious. Well, little guy gets a 5% raise if he's lucky. My friend worked for Enron. Anybody remember Enron? He got laid off, and every one of the CEOs, and CFOs, and those in the corporate office, they got all what they called golden parachutes of bonuses when the company tanked, and the government had to step in and bail everything out, and all that mess with Enron. They got hundreds of millions of dollars split amongst the top CEOs and CFOs and corporate officers, and everybody else got a pink slip. They didn't even they were lucky. Wow, you know what? At least I can apply for unemployment now. That's what they got, while the rest of them walked away with millions of dollars. But he's now up here in the Seattle area. He works for Amazon. Oh, Zelda, it's a hilarious movie. One of my favorite parts was when, besides the robbing of the different corporate officers that they stole from, was when he went to the golf course and started cutting up chunks of sod after their sod was repossessed. So there were little squares of sod from the golf course. It was a funny movie. Well, thank you, Sketty Nonna. I'm sure she appreciates the view, just the views and the subscription. Somebody subscribing to her channel. She's a great lady. They did, Colleen. If you want to, if you want to do a deeper dive into American politics and what we've lost in our restrictions on our rights, you need to go back to the 9/11 attack. Go back to the 9/11 attack and come forward from there, and then look at what they did underneath the Patriot Act and what the government was able to push through and get passed into law on how they can surveillance us, watch us, listen to us, and then arrest us without ever charging us with a crime because of the Patriot Act and the extensions beyond that they have come up that were supposed to expire, that other presidents along the way have renewed. Yeah, that's scary shit right there. And we did it all in the facade of being safe, just like airline security, and the TSA and all the TSA officers. There hasn't been one single attack that's been prevented attack that the TSA has actually stopped. Shoe bomber, he got on the plane with a shoe bomb. Though he was stopped by people on the plane. U.S. Marshals in plain clothes, dressed just like you and me on a plane. They've stopped incidences, but not the TSA, and they've tested them by bringing bombs, see if they can get fake bombs through security and onto a plane, and they've been able to do it time and time and time again. What they call it, security theater, something like that. I don't know, Francie. I don't know what I'm doing for. I didn't make breakfast. Obviously my wife was making cinnamon toast sticks for my son because that's one of the 5 foods that he'll eat. My son has a large restriction on, not that he can't eat different things, he just won't eat different things. So there's a huge restriction on what he will eat. Chicken nuggets or chicken strips, either some kind of chicken, as long as it has some kind of like breading or coating on it. But I make it in the air fryer, so it's a lot healthier. That, cinnamon toast sticks, ramen noodles, hot dogs, and what do they call them? Like they're steak strips, kind of like trying to think of there's a name brand for them, but you get them kind of like in a sandwich, like chip beef, but it's like steak strips. He'll eat that. That's it. He won't eat anything else. He'll sit there at the dinner table or breakfast, at the table because we normally eat together except for on Saturday mornings, and he won't eat. He'll just sit there and wait. And we're like, you can't get up until you eat, and he will sit there all day long. And I'm not kidding. He is a stubborn little guy. No, don't even own the home that you live in. You spent 30 years buying your home, pay it off, and you still really don't even own that because the government can take the land out from underneath your home in a heartbeat. You love all those foods my son likes. Yeah, we're trying to introduce him to more foods, different foods, but part of it has to do with his autism. He's just trying to explain and get him to communicate with us, what he likes and what he doesn't like is a battle. That and he's 5, so that doesn't help either. It also doesn't help that he has a mother that will give him everything that he wants, and she loves him dearly. It's just she caters to him a lot more than I will. So you need a scarecrow in your yard, Kevin? You have crows or finches or something that are bothering you? A lot of companies made money just like them. Banks, Wall Street, etc. Oh yeah. Yeah, me and my wife got screwed by the nice backdoor deal that Washington Mutual Bank got. That was sold off to a former Treasury Secretary. That was a whole nother deal. During the housing collapse and Washington Mutual being bought out by Chase. Yep. Smith Shoes is back. My house because I make her eat. She's moving to Arkansas in 2 months now. Oh, I'm sorry. Well, we're going to find out, if, another food that my son may not like is tonight I'm making pulled pork and au gratin potatoes from scratch. I'm making that for dinner tonight. Kind of cool because my wife and my daughter got me a little table that I can sit down, in a chair and next to it, so I can prep the food and they're helping me, make the dinner. But making pulled pork and au gratin potatoes for dinner tonight. We'll find out if he'll eat any of it. Kevin, I'll be over probably about 6 o'clock, Kevin. So. Sounds good. I'm away even with my Adventist no pork diet. Just don't tell my priest. I'm sorry, Zelda. I was gonna make beef short ribs, but I forgot to pull them out of the freezer. So yeah, I could thaw them out, and I was gonna barbecue the short ribs, slow smoke them and then barbecue them. But I didn't forgot. I was gonna pull them out last night, but forgot. But I already had the pulled. I already had the pork in the refrigerator. So make hamburger every day. There's nothing wrong with that. There's a lot of things you can do with hamburger. You know, um, to spice it up and make it different. You don't just have to eat hamburgers. You can make a meatloaf with hamburger. That's always good. And man, I'm telling you, I love cold meatloaf sandwiches. Ooh yeah. Put it between some squishy white bread or sourdough, toast the sourdough, and then put it in making a sandwich out of it. I mean, and it's not that much more difficult to make it a meatloaf as long as you have an oven and a pan to bake it in. If you don't have a bread pan to form a whole loaf in, just put it on a sheet pan. Just make sure you watch it, closely because the temperature is going to, want to brown the edges more, unless you like that. So they say Gabby Petito was strangled. Yes, Francie. Um, the method of death, according to Dr. Blue, the coroner, was manual strangulation. We have really good beef and pork in Iowa. I do feel guilty about eating pork. They're so smart. Chili mix. Ooh, it's still too lazy. Chili sounds good, even for breakfast. What is Sunday's challenge? Well, I've been reading up on 911. Also, how do you have a conversation with people and not think our phones are not being recorded? Well, when it comes right down to it, Colleen, I don't care. If the government wants to track me, believe me, I would be in a world of freaking hurt if the government came in here and just seized this one computer. Could you imagine what my internet history looks like to the government? All day long, I'm researching missing children, dead kids, domestic violence, abductions, murder, all day long, every day. That's just on one hard drive, on one computer. So if I was worried about the government listening in on my phone calls, I mean, I'd be screwed. I mean, I'm nobody. If they want to think that I'm an Al Qaeda, operative working, living in, undercover in America, go right ahead. But if they want to listen in on my phone calls, knock it out. Me and my mother-in-law, whenever we talk to each other on the phone, we always say 5 keywords every time. We make sure the phone call gets started off the right way, just in case NSA wants to listen in. We say Al Qaeda, bomb, little children, and the 5th and final word that we always make sure we throw in is let's do this tomorrow morning. Massacre is the key word. Massacre. But we always put those in the beginning of a conversation because it's a joke to us. I don't think the NSA is listening in on my phone call. If they do, knock it the fuck out. Most of my phone calls are boring. Yeah. Can I get 3 Whoppers and 3 large fries? I'm calling Uber Eats or a Burger King delivery service. Yeah. Serial killer in the making. Yeah. I'm serious. Do they ever get fingerprints from manual strangulation? Not that we don't know who did it. Um, I don't know if you can get them off necessarily off of skin to skin contact. And we also have to keep in context though, when it, unfortunately, God rest her soul, Gabby, but when she was out, if that was a key thing that I caught in the actual interview, like the Zoom thing with the coroner, Dr. Blue, is he would not answer the question if she was buried or if she was left out on the ground for the 3 to 4 weeks from the time of death till she was discovered. Either way, the elements would have deteriorated a lot of physical evidence that may have been, collected from her. Now, they still could get fingernail scrapings, from Brian, if from underneath her fingernails. There might be other DNA on her from Brian as well. But as much as we want to say that's damning evidence, if she has fingernail scrapings from Brian, in 3 to 4 weeks from that, he may not have any outward signs that he was ever injured in a situation where he was strangling her, where she was trying to fight back, because those I would have been healed up by then. But the other thing is on top of that though, he was her intimate partner, so DNA from him on her wouldn't necessarily be a clue that says that he was the one involved. Can they get fingerprints from her on her skin? I think that I'm not 100% sure on this, so don't quote me on this, but I do believe they may be able to match up thumb size, finger size in the spread and size of the hands from bruising on the face. I think they can do that. If she was protected, if maybe something she was wrapped up in something and then buried, there could be, possible fingerprints on there, but would they be, able to prove beyond a preponderance of the evidence that came from Brian? I don't know, but I do believe they can actually measure the hands and spread of the hands and size of fingers from bruising. To get the actual death definition, but the actual cause of death of manual strangulation, there had to be signs of petechial hemorrhaging in the eye, broken thymine. I can't. I'm messing it up, but there's a broken bone there in the neck. But this normally happens from manual strangulation, or they found something tied around her neck. Maybe it was a rope. If they can find a rope or something like that, like he did it with a rope, there would be DNA on that rope itself from Brian, which would be another piece of evidence to convict him on. So I don't know if I really answered your question. Can they get fingerprints? I don't think so. Maybe if she was covered up and she wasn't left out to the elements, maybe. Your brother's body was too decomposed. I'm sorry, Mary. Chris Laundrie was mowing his lawn in the same day the coroner's report came out. Bet people were jumping on that one. Yeah, they were. Well, I'm trying to decide, do I want the rash of shit that's going to come from this? Let's just say that the Laundrie family lives in an area of town where they have to mow their lawn, or they have to pay a company to come and mow their lawn. They have tried to get someone else to mow their lawn, but there isn't a company out there that will come and do it because of the protesters who are across the street, who have harassed the 3 people who came to actually take estimates. These same people are the same people who threw laundry baskets on their lawn, have littered on their lawn countless times, and have also gone onto their property, trespassed illegally, No arrests have been made for it. They've been warned from the police to stay off their property, but they can't. They keep on going back and doing it again and again. And they put up the picture the other day of Brian and Gabby on their actual lawn. So, yeah, damned if they do, damned if they don't. In that situation about him mowing the lawn. Did he know that the coroner was going to make it, the stream the same day? I don't think it really matters all that much. It doesn't show guilt on the family that much. But I don't want anybody to take that the wrong way, that I'm saying that the father and mother are completely innocent in all of this. I don't think that they are in the physical condition where they could be out there hunting trying to help, in the Carlton Reserve, look for Brian. It's been quite a few, a long time. Because I never was able to confirm how long it's been since Brian's father went hiking with him, but it has been a while. They're not in the physical conditioning to be hiking through the Carlton Reserve to try to help. But a lot of people are like, they're not helping search for him in the Carlton Reserve. They're not going door to door. And now imagine if they were to go door to door or somewhere in town to put up flyers or look for Brian or anything at all. They would have that mob, that circus of media and everything else following them constantly, like they do now. I mean, they can't do anything without somebody being there. And was he installing a Ring doorbell on his home the other day? Why is that national news? But apparently it is. But I truly feel sorry for Gabby's family. Calling, I'm 100% with you right there. I couldn't imagine myself, and I try to put myself in that situation. How would I feel if this was my daughter who was murdered and was left out, in the elements for 3 to 4 weeks after she was murdered, and the last known person to be with her, was not only back home with his parents, but enjoying life and doing whatever the hell he wanted. Went camping with them, went to the store, ate and enjoyed life until, my daughter was found. If I had to put myself in that situation, how would I feel? Well, if I would have known where Brian Laundrie was, if that was, my daughter in place of Gabby, Brian wouldn't be alive today. I would have been beating on his door the day that she stopped. Where is she? Where is my daughter? I would have waited 3 weeks for them to find her, maybe a week, without the constant, because her and her mother had contact all the time. They always kept in touch, just like my daughter and my wife do. Even if it's anything more than 24 hours, 48 hours, man, we're worried as hell at that point. Not but you have to put yourself in that situation and how you'd feel and what would you do. And a lot of people really miss that, about the Gabby's family. How are they really feeling? How are they getting along? It's got to be hard to bury your own child. It's something I hope I never have to do. I just couldn't imagine. I mean, I go away for the weekend, man, and the first thing I want to do is I want to see my kids. I want to hug them. I want to know that they're well. I want to know that they're safe, even though I may have been in contact in time that I was gone. I want to still be able to see them in person. Elaine, and good evening, good morning, whichever it is where you are. I hope you had a wonderful week. Thank you for stopping in this morning. I would trip and fall if they watched me check my mail. Oh, check your mail. I think the divorced parents made difficult because they each may have thought the other had talked to her. There's something to that, Nona. I'll give you that. But her mother, was, she was always in contact with her because I mean they were like best friends. That you, and that's something you have to let your children grow up and find their way in life and everything else. You have to be a parent. You can be a close parent, but you have to still let them fall and skin their knees through life. You can't hold their hand forever, but still, it's hard. If you've never raised children, it's really hard to understand, from a parent's perspective of just how much it's hard to let go of your child at that point when they get to that age where you say, okay, here's the world out in front of you. Make the best of it because you do everything you can to give them the best opportunity in this world to be able to strike out on their own and be successful. But you still want to protect them at the same time, though. It's hard. I would be personally banging on their door. I would have too. Having a family is the best thing in life. That's true, Kevin. In this world, your friends may come and go, but your family is your family. Even if they're shitty, they're still your family. Because God knows I have enough of the shitty ones in my family. But I have just enough good ones where I still want to talk to them. We live in Grass Valley. My mom attended Sacramento College and get an RN degree in the mid 60s. I went to Auburn Adventist Academy. We always living with other families. It's a horrible life, lonely and abandoned. Oh, I'm sorry, Zelda. The laundries had no night keeping Gabby whereabouts from her family. I was angry when I first heard about it. Yeah. Yeah. Toxic families are best to avoid. I have some family members I just wish weren't here. Nowhere near me or even in the family. This so I got a new brace too. Goes from my ankle up to just below my hip. And this I can't rotate my leg this way and I certainly hell can't bend it. And every once in a while I get these muscle spasms in my leg, and that's when it's painful. That Francie, what am I going to do for Thanksgiving? I will have about 30 people here at my house. It's one of the reasons why we bought such a large house is because before we were doing events at two different locations. We were doing it at my sister's house and we're doing them at my mother-in-law's because there was just there wasn't enough place, area to cook, let alone seat everybody. And inevitably, it ended up all the seating around all the tables and couches and everything else in the living room was all taken up. So we would end up, people ended up sitting at tables outside, and then we had to have those big, porch propane heaters and stuff. But everybody tries to come together for Thanksgiving, not for Christmas, but for Thanksgiving. But we will have about 30 extended total family members, including extended family members, children, grandparents, kids, in-laws, outlaws. Well, they'll all be here. So we will do 4 turkeys, 3 hams, and 2 roasts. And then some people who are local or nearby will bring sides. Someone will bring rolls. Somebody will bring another dish. But me and my mother-in-law make the deviled eggs, the whatever meat we're going to serve, the stuffing or dressing, whichever you call it, because depending where you are in the world. And we'll make the gravy, and we'll make like a couple of side casseroles, and then everybody else brings something else. If they're flying in, they stop at a store and they buy drinks for everybody. We try to limit the amount of alcohol that is drank, just because the sheer number of people who are here, and it gets messy when people start drinking, and there's football on TV. Usually the Lions game is on, but someone will be in one part of the living room watching television, while other people will be on their phones, and it always causes conflict when you add alcohol to it. So it's like adding gasoline to the fire, because there are certain people who just don't like each other within the family. But pretty good turnout this year. We're hoping, at least compared to last year, and because of COVID and everything. But used to bring people we knew, but didn't have a place to go for a meal. Oh, that's cool, Kevin. You used to do it. We used to volunteer at the it wasn't the Union Gospel then, but it is now the Union Gospel Mission. We used to volunteer there to make breakfast, either or dinner on actual Thanksgiving Day. But because of COVID and restrictions from the state and county, they are only allowed to have people who have food handlers licenses now, and and people who work or within the actual organization to volunteer to be there. So these are people with paid positions within the Union Gospel. Maybe they work at the thrift store, and so they're there. But all of the people who are there now are volunteering, but they work somewhere within the Union Gospel mission itself. But they're not allowing volunteers like me and my wife to come volunteer anymore. At least not for the meal service, to serve people, cook, or anything else. So that's one of the changes for COVID. It's like, yeah, because there were so many people that wanted to volunteer before. They I don't know how they're going to do it, but they say they're on track to actually make it happen again this year, and I hope so, because there's a large homeless population out there, and a population of people who don't have a place to live, a place to go, or to celebrate the holidays. Maybe they don't have families, but it's pretty much all inclusive. It's a pretty big place. They rent the place out as an event center where they hold us at. It's in the downtown area of another city, nearby. So, you love cornbread stuffing, Francine? My mother-in-law makes the cornbread stuffing. The one that I make is more sage forward, sage and garlic and seasonings. But my mother-in-law makes a cornbread one. So we'll probably make the two of them, because the regular stuffing I put in the actual turkeys themselves. So I was joking with her the other day. I was like, "Can we make a turducken?" That's a duck inside of a turkey. She's like, she never heard of that before, but she'll get it's red stag whiskey. And it's part of her brine for the turkeys. So it get red stag whiskey in it, and salt and seasonings and stuff. And then we vacuum it in the containers. So these are big birds, but they're tubs you can actually buy at a kitchen supply store, where you can actually put the top on, and it sucks all the air out. So the brine is forced into the turkey itself. Really good. Keeps it really juicy. When my husband was stationed overseas, we always had a single soldier over for the big Thanksgiving dinner. They were far from home too. Oh, that was really nice. Okie dokie. Well, okie dokie. And to Kevin, thank you to both of you. Okie dokie, your husband, to Kevin, to you personally, thank you for your service. I appreciate it. And anybody else out there who has served, for your country in the armed services, or in law enforcement, and along with those who are in, retired, or were an EMT, or a nurse, thank you. Not enough people appreciate, what you guys have done, for your country and for your communities. And I really do appreciate it. If no one else is going to thank you, I will. How the heck do you return home after a cross country trip without your partner? That's a damn good question, Colleen. And I'm sure Brian, wherever he is, if he's alive, I don't think he's ever going to tell us. I'm sure he's come up with a million different versions in his head, during all that time that, that was going to be a plausible excuse for why he left her. In small fashion. Yeah. What do we do with our leftovers, Francie? Refrigerate them. Trust me, though, there isn't after all everybody's here. There ain't a whole heck of a lot. It's an all day event. Um, so normally people start showing up at about 7, 8 o'clock in the morning, and we put out hors d'oeuvres and side things for people to snack on. Because of the football game, they'll show up to watch the pregame show and stuff like that. And there's usually 4 or 5 uncles who are all just sitting in there, kicked back on the couches and in the the easy chairs, watching the game and the early footage for that, or something. And it's an all day event. They'll be here until 10, 11 o'clock at night, because we also do all the pies and fixings and stuff like that, on top of it all. And my daughter makes, like the homemade whipped cream and everything else to go along with it. Vanilla, strawberry, and chocolate whipped creams from scratch. So, it's an all day event. What is left over usually is, it's like some ham, maybe a container or two of ham. And we usually send, there's always somebody who can't make it, or they can stop by and because they have to go to work. We buy a bunch. We go to it's called Cash and Carry. I don't know if they have that in your area, but we buy like the to go clamshell things. So we make meals for them so they can take them to work if they have to work that day. And there's usually 3 or 4 that can't be here for it. So we send that with the either home with somebody who's going, or if they stop by, we make them one to go. So, is there anyone coming from our area? I met them on 84. I'll meet them on 84. Send someone to you. It's hard to ship. Well, my Zelda, my wife's dad is in Eugene. That's about the closest toward you that anybody's coming from. The rest of them are coming from northern Idaho, the upper Panhandle, and Montana, as far away as Bozeman. So the rest of them are in-state. You are much nicer and welcoming than I. It's an all day thing. It's just always, it's what we've always done. But it's a lot easier to do this now, ladies and gentlemen, than it was when it was at 2 different places, at my mother-in-law's and my sister's. And it was so much easier because we have such a large home that we can actually have the space for it to do this. And that was one of the reasons, again, why my wife wanted to buy this house, because we have we have ample places for people to park off the street. We have 2 driveways, 2 garages. And there's places for people to park. And if they can't park here, we're like less than a half a block from a park. So there's, 40 or 50 parking spots there. So it's less than a half a block. It's only, 2 houses, 3 houses, because one house that's kind of, this way on the corner. But it's really nice. And, we get to spend the time with family. And that's more important than anything else. The hardest job I ever had is to be a parent wife. It's true. It's not easy being a parent. It's definitely not easy. I like to stay at home too and cook. Elaine, will we require people to be vaccinated? Francie, no. We do not require anybody to be vaccinated. Um, a majority of them we already know are vaccinated. Um, there might be 5 or 6 that are not. But the reason why we know a majority of them are vaccinated already is because they're frontline workers, either law enforcement, nurses, or they work in the medical field, and they've already been required much, much, much before this to have already had their shots. Are we going to check people at the door because they ask them for that? No, no. We we'll take precautions, for however we can. But about the only person in my household that's not vaccinated is my son. And he's 5 and he's a little vector anyways. So even if he was, he'd probably catch a new strain of something then and bring it home on his hands because kids are that's just the way they are. If you ever want to catch the flu or a cold, I suggest you hang out with a child because they're perfect at finding it, even if it's only in less than 1/1000000000% of the population. There's a child out there who will find that and bring it home to somebody. But that's the way the world works. It's been that way forever. It's the one job that's definitely underpaid. I can't remember the last time somebody sent me a check for being a parent. So it's easy. You do 12 people. It's a lot easier to cook for 12 people than one person can do that. Me and my mother-in-law will start prepping everything a week prior. Well, we make out a list of all the things we need to buy at the store, and we have that ongoing list every year. Like cranberries, and stuff like that we can it's either shelf stable or we can store it for long periods of time and make and can. We do that throughout the year. So when it comes to the time to actually make it, so we have a checklist that we check off. We're like, okay, we already have all the things for this that we've been buying as they're on sale throughout the year because we plan this, so that as soon as Thanksgiving is over with, we'll start planning the next one. What's going to be on the meal, how we're going to do it, where we're going to get it. And the grocery stores are really great at it, especially just after Christmas. Between Christmas and New Year's, they want to get rid of turkeys and stuff like that dirt cheap. And during the holidays, a lot of the grocery stores will run deals like spend $100, get a free turkey, stuff like that. I mean, you're going to go grocery shopping anyways. So, and after, Christmas, they want to get rid of them. They want to get rid of that inventory. So we'll buy them. And I've got a deep freeze in my, the other garage. And I've got another one that's in the basement of my house. Buy the turkeys, throw them in the freezer. Boom. They're good. So we don't have to buy them, when it comes closer to next Thanksgiving. And we'll do the same thing to replenish them along with the beef, and ham. They're in the freezers as well. Not here, but they're at my mother-in-law's because, in her deep freeze, in her garage. Medical fact. Those with Crohn's disease didn't share a bathroom with anyone when they were a child or siblings until after the age of 5. Having a pet helps boost a child's immune systems too. Tessie Cooper, welcome. Welcome to the live stream. I hope you had a wonderful week, Tessie. You have to go, Cessna? Well, thank you, Cessna, for stopping in. I'm going to wrap it up here as well, ladies and gentlemen. Don't forget, tomorrow night, Sunday night, and same as every week, tomorrow night is trivia here on Now, my channel for One Now, obviously, I hope you know who I am. My name is Will, and this is my channel. But tomorrow night at 7 p.m. Pacific Daylight Time, change that accordingly to whatever time zone you're in and around the world. But tomorrow night, 30 multiple choice questions displayed on the screen, along with the 4 possible answers to each question. And I hope everyone has a wonderful week. Don't forget to give this a thumbs up if you like the content today. Leave a comment afterwards if you want. Share it with your friends and family if you think they would enjoy it. Stephanie Fisher, thanks. Well, happy Saturday to all. Thank you, Stephanie. I'm sorry I didn't see you earlier. I hope you had a wonderful week. You stay safe out there. Starfire, bye. Bye, everyone. I hope you all have a wonderful day today. Please join tomorrow. You will love it. Thank you, Zelda. I appreciate it.